right, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about something that is absolutely essential to all life, whether it be human, plants, animals. All life is completely and totally dependent on water. Now I know that you can survive a whole lot longer not having food than you can with water, and I think probably most people know that, but it's just absolutely essential. And I kind of want to start this one out, looking at something from kind of the spiritual angle of it. Being where I live in Northern California, we got the Sierra Nevada mountains up there, and it's just absolutely my favorite place. I just think it's so beautiful. Love going hiking out there and camping and all that. So, I'm pretty familiar with the Sierra Nevada mountains. And the thing is, from a lot of places up here around the Sacramento area and everything, there's what's called the Crystal Range up there. And it is just absolutely amazing the way God created things when you really think about it and look at it. Up in the mountains here, God gives us this beautiful snow, and up in the Crystal Range, throughout a lot of spring, winter, and fall, so 3 seasons of the year, you can just see these snow-capped mountain peaks up there that are just covered with snow, and it's just absolutely amazing, and when I've been hiking up behind them, there's actually a place where there's snow year-round. It's basically a glacier up there. This snow up there does a lot of things. I mean, for one, it creates a lot of recreation for people to be able to go play in the snow. Kids love the snow. Go up there sledding, snowboarding, skiing, all this a lot of recreation, just a lot of fun to be had up in the snow. But not only did God allow us to have that recreation part, but it's absolutely life-giving, essential water that God's given us. With that snow and precipitation up there just soaking into the ground and then slowly melting off through spring and into early summer and all that, it gives us water. And living in Northern California, you can go up and down the state here and you see these just massive rivers and streams and creeks and everything else flowing out of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Just massive amounts of water. And most of it flows out into the ocean, just goes right out into the ocean. So here's the concern. There's people, people that are pushing the climate thing, that are restricting and holding back this life-giving, essential, foundational thing to life for humans from us. Every year, no matter what we go through, it seems like, we're in a drought. We're talking about a drought. We're talking about a drought. Talking about restrictions. Talking about cutting back water. Talking about keeping water. And what comes to mind right now is, for years, when we travel down to Southern California, you go through the heart of the valley of Northern and Central California, and you see all these big old signs along the roads on these big old farms that are dried out and dead, with these farmers pleading and begging and complaining about the governor and the state holding them back from growing food, which, that's kind of another essential thing there, which is a whole nother topic, because that's being challenged and attacked through climate as well. Apparently our food is causing climate change. But the thing about climate change here is that that's the way God created it. It's always changed. And I remember in my lifetime, the big threat about going into another ice age, and then now global warming. And, and apparently over the last 100 years, it's gone back and forth using one or the other one, depending on where the climate was going in its cycles, to produce fear in people and control people. So now the thing is climate change. So, you know, going one way or the other was, I guess, too restrictive. So now any change in the climate is caused by humans, and things that we need to live is causing climate change. And so, again, that's another big thing, but another topic. But so, I want to see with my own eyes and research and look into things and find out. And so at the beginning of the summer, I kind of was checking it out. We've got, I go over the American River probably a handful of times at least every day. So I see that every day. And then every once in a while I go through the big lake that the American River comes through, Folsom Lake, the big lake up here. So around the beginning of summer, I wanted to check those things out and see how they looked. And this is what I found. Here we are at the end of June, and the river is seriously full, which is kind of frustrating because they tell us we don't have enough water, but either they're letting all this out because there's massive amounts of snow melt coming in, or they're just draining the lakes. So it was only within a week that Jennifer and I were at the river and saw that the river was huge. They were letting a lot of water out. So now take a look at the lake and see the lake, Folsom Lake, is still looking rather full. So I'm thinking that we had a lot of snowpack up there. Here we are starting July, and the river is really full and the lake is still really full. And then I wanted to check again and see what was going on later on in the summer in here. And this time, it's well into the summer. And so this is what I found then. All right, coming up on Folsom Dam here right now. It is the 8th of August, so we are 8 days into the month of August. So let's see how full the lake is at this time, all the way into almost a third of the way through the month of August. All right, it's still looking pretty full out here, all the way into August. All right, now I gotta check out the river over here. Oh yeah, it's still looking very full. So from what I see, we have plenty of water. And from what I understand, I could do more research into this and looking into this, but from my understanding is that we have had reservoirs and places to contain water, construction projects on the books for decades. And so the whole climate environmental thing has been litigating against them and stopping them and holding them back for decades. And we can't build any more water storage. And the thing is, I look at the precipitation from our last season, and Sacramento Executive Airport was listed at 92% of, they call it normal, just like our temperatures now. They call average normal, which average and normal are not the same thing. Normal is what you normally have. Average is the middle of high precipitation years and low precipitation years. So 50% of the time we have high ones and 50% we have low ones. And that brings us in the middle. And then this average that they're calling normal, which is really not normal, is portrayed as the bare minimum that we absolutely need to have enough water. But you look at even the lowest of precipitation years, and all through the summer, you got massive amounts of water flowing out into the ocean, like this year. We've got all this talk about drought and water restrictions and everything else. And now it's like non-essential grass or unproductive grass or whatever. You can't water that or things like that. So you see all these places where the grass is just brown and dying. And the problem with that is that when you don't water the grass, you're not watering the trees either. And you see in the cities here down in the Central Valley where there aren't naturally a lot of trees, people have planted a lot of nice, beautiful, big trees, especially around the Sacramento area. It's such an old city and everything that, there's massive trees here. But I've seen, these massive redwoods being cut down because they're not getting enough water over the last number of years. And I see other ones that are dying and weakening, and those are dangerous. In forestry, they're called widow makers because they become dangerous. Limbs or the whole tree can fall over and crush a person, a car, house, whatever, because they're weak and dying. So, and that's one of the big things environmentalists talk about is cutting down trees, yet not watering the trees are going to cause trees to die. Again, looking at the actual numbers, apparently at the executive airport, we were at 92% of average for rainfall, precipitation down in the valley. And then up where they usually check the snow levels and stuff like that on the local news up in Blue Canyon, it was at like 101% of average. Yet they're telling us we don't have enough water. And, and that's what I see with my own eyes, checking out the river. The river has just absolutely been full all summer. The lake, Folsom Lake, has been full all summer, yet we're still being told we don't have enough water, we need water restrictions, and we need to cut back on that. That's evil. I mean, that's evil, holding back the necessity, basic, necessary, essential of life from us, from something that is naturally occurring, that climate change, it goes up and down, and that we don't have enough water. But if you live here, I can only speak for my area here where I live, but we've got all these massive rivers where all the water's just going out into the ocean. And we're told complaining that God hasn't given us enough water when He has. He hasn't made a mistake. He didn't mess up. He didn't forget. He's given us enough water. And then another thing, real quick, I guess, something you see on the news a lot is Lake Mead. Now, don't quote me on this because I have not dug into researching this, but from what I understand and I've heard, it was an engineering mistake, that they based that dam on way above average rainfall every year, which is not the way it works. A lot of years we have above average, a lot of years we have below average. So anyway, spiritually speaking, it's an evil thing to hold back something that God has freely given us, and we have plenty of, probably enough from the Sierras up here, not only for the whole state, but probably even further beyond that. So anyway, that's what I have seen, and that's what I've looked at, and we just, we got to pray and make our voices heard, We need to communicate and make our voices heard so that people with evil intentions and controlling, dominating intentions aren't harming people, because it is going to be the poorest of the people that are going to be harmed the most with something like this. So we need to communicate, make our voices heard. With the freedom of elections in our country, make sure we know who the people are that we're voting for, not just be voting along political party lines, but what do these people actually believe? What do they actually do? I'm going over the river right now. We're halfway through August. It's like really, really full. So anyway, let's just make sure that we just don't listen to what we're being told, but actually take time to look into things, see with our own eyes, and understand with our own minds through taking a little bit of time to research some of these big things, especially things that are restricting people from basic necessities like water that God has freely given us and given us an abundance of. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you on the next 10 Talk.